ever be. No matter what comes our way, we'll be together, together.
Welcome to Homeschooling Down South. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Kat. We're two Southern homeschooling mamas sharing real talk, resources, and inspiration for life and learning in the Southeast.
Each week, we'll chat with inspiring voices in the homeschool community, highlight must-see nature spots and field trip gems, and share resources from across the region.
Whether you're new to homeschooling or a seasoned pro, pull up a chair and join us as we celebrate the joy, freedom, and community of homeschooling down south.
We'll laugh together, we'll learn together, find the joys in life together, give each other grace and space to be.
Merry Christmas, y'all! Welcome back to Homeschooling Down South. We have a little bit of a different episode for you guys today because it's the holiday season and we like to be festive. We wanted to share what our homeschools look like during Christmas and some of the fun Christmas things that we do. So this is just a little break from the norm. We'll get back to business as usual after the new year, but we hope you enjoy this special episode. And then next week, we'll have a special New Year's episode as well. So, Kat, why don't you tell us all about how your homeschool looks differently or even looks the same during Christmas?
It looks different. It does indeed look different. And part of that is that, and I think we both experience this, we both participate in an enrichment program that ends before Thanksgiving, and the Wild and Free group that we're a part of, we do a little bit, but we do sort of start to slow down because we've learned in the last couple of years that people either get sick or they're busy at the holidays and they just don't come to the events as much. And so there's space. There's more space to do things that are different. And that's kind of what I like about this. And that's why I lean into a different vibe, starting with Thanksgiving. So we started with just a little bit, my son's still a little young for it, the Brighter Day Press Thanksgiving unit study. So we did a little bit of
Never heard
that.
of them.
Yes, they're wonderful. They're wonderful. They have a lot of cool resources, not just curriculum, but like some good like journals for moms and planners and things like that. And very Christ-centered, which I
Okay.
appreciate when I'm looking for my stuff. We traveled to Texas for Thanksgiving, so we didn't do a ton of it, but we did a little bit of it going into the Thanksgiving week. And then that break kind of gave us like, after Thanksgiving, we are going to have a different vibe. So when we came back and December started, we launched into All Creation Waits, which is an Advent book.
Okay.
And each day is a different animal and how it so fitting for my homeschool
Yes.
and how it behaves in nature during this winter season. But there's this continuous message threaded through the book about how darkness is not the end. It's the way that light comes. And so we're building up, right? To
I love this.
yes. And I went ahead and not just bought the book, but I bought the curriculum that goes alongside of it from Peaceful Press, which is the curriculum that Jennifer Pepito writes. It's a beautiful alongside the book. There are cutout ornaments of the animals each day that he can color, and there are activities. But what I'm really liking is there's these really thoughtful questions. So both the book at the back of it and the curriculum that Peaceful Press provides both have really thoughtful questions you can ask after you've read about today's animal. So the questions at the back of the book might be something like, okay, the painted turtle is still all through winter. When are you still?
What ages would you say, like, is this one of those things, like, I know campfire curriculum, when you buy their thing, you get it for, like, kindergarten through 12th grade. There's, like, different, like, do this if your kid's this age. Is that how this is? Or, like, it's pretty lower elementary?
I would say the book itself could be for any age. And then the accompanying curriculum has some questions that are definitely higher level than like my 5-year-old is ready for, and some questions that are good for 'em. I think that I would, just knowing Jennifer Pepito's, I've read her books, and I would say she is probably thinking about you doing it with multi-age, like a bunch of kids of different ages all together at once. And it's really lovely. Some of the questions that are asked in the curriculum are things like, can you think of someone in your community who needs something? And so I'll say those questions that we've been discussing for the last couple of weeks have led us to think about a neighbor that we have who he is elderly. His wife passed away a couple of years ago. And my son came up with we should invite him over to play with he just got a train underneath the Christmas tree to play with the train and eat some cookies with us. And so, obviously, my husband and I talked about it and fleshed out. We're gonna just have him over for dinner, a Christmassy dinner, and play with the train and eat some cookies. Not
That's
just cookies.
sweet.
We're gonna feed him dinner too, not just
Right.
cookies. So that is how we're starting every day. If you've been listening, you might have heard me talk before about like our morning reading time is like our precious. We started that even before I had thought about like what curriculum would look like. And so we always start the day after breakfast with reading together. And we've just replaced our normal morning reading with this Advent reading and this Advent conversation. And then we're still with our normal math and reading curriculums that we're doing. But then from there, we're doing Read Aloud Revival's Christmas School, which
Oh,
is awesome. I love it. So it's 3 weeks, and each week has a different book. And then the curriculum has accompanying activities, it has questions to discuss. So we started, I guess we're at the end of our second week. So we started last week with a book called The Cobweb Christmas, which I have thought about
cute.
whether or not I should tell you about because there's a lot of spiders in it.
I can do spiders,
Okay,
just
you can
not
do spiders,
snakes.
not snakes. Okay.
Spiders are fine.
So in the story, the spiders make webs all on this woman's Christmas tree.
Hate that.
I knew it. But because she always shoos the spiders out of the house
Naturally.
before Christmas. But when Kris Kringle comes to town, he sees all the spiders waiting on her doorstep and they say, "We just want to see a little Christmas." And so he lets them in.
Feels like not a me problem,
And
right?
then
Feels like not a her problem, you know?
this is why I did not bring this book last week to our Wild and Free meetup.
I feel like that was a wise choice.
Because I was like, Kayla would probably walk away from me and maybe not come back. And there was already a coyote at our meetup last week.
Yeah, that
No,
was wild.
the spiders would have been too much. So the spiders make webs on her Christmas tree. And so then Kris Kringle comes back to check in on and let the spiders back out. And he sees the webs and he knows she has put so much care into the tree and it will like break her heart to see all these webs. So he comes in and he touches each of them and they turn into tinsel.
Okay, now I am here for that, and I
Because of
love that
his
he's fixing the problem that he
Yes.
caused.
Yes.
Good man.
So he's using his Christmas magic to turn it all into tinsel. And then she realizes that this kind of Christmas magic only happens once. So from that Christmas forward, she always puts tinsel on her tree. And then the accompanying activity was like, you could go put tinsel on your tree. We are not a tinsel on your tree
Mm-mm.
family, but we did. We went and got some tinsel and we put it on the tree. And now it's all over my house and all over the dog. But you know what? It's really cool because it was part of this book. And we
Yeah.
also baked cookies because she bakes cookies to decorate her tree with. So we baked cookies last week. And then this week is it's not like a contemporary book. I see the face Kayla is making at me. It's not a contemporary
I'm
book.
just
It's
like, why are
like
we putting cookies on the tree?
they
Like, they're
used
gonna
to
get
do that.
stale or, like,
But
attract
in the olden days.
bugs.
In the olden days they did that.
I
So
don't know, I just feel like it's questionable.
it was like you would only put up your Christmas tree like that day and you would like decorate it with like cookies and popcorn and stuff. Like in the olden days.
Yeah, I know popcorn, but I've just never heard of people putting cookies on their tree. It feels like we're just out here wasting cookies and inviting bugs in.
Well, she put the cookies on her tree and then she invited the town's children to come.
See, you keep turning it around.
I
You
know.
say something and I'm like, this doesn't feel good, and then you turn it around. I love to see it.
So we did not put the cookies on our tree.
That feels good.
We made the cookies that she makes, and then we brought them to a homeschool activity last week and shared them with our friends because my family does not need to eat 24 cookies. So this week, it's a story about birds who live in the tree that goes to Rockefeller Center. They're cardinals. It's a lovely book. It's called Red and Lulu. And so we read that and we will bake something related to that. But we also we did a little cardinal unit study, which is great because we have cardinals here all the time. And so I love the way that Sarah Mackenzie puts together the Read Aloud Revival Christmas School because she has little videos. It's just very curated and it's the curriculum is written in a way that's easy to be like, this piece of the curriculum is for my kid, this piece is not. And we will leave that. And maybe, we'll pick it up in a couple of years. Like, I own it now. I can come back and do this same Christmas school again in a few years if it feels right. So that's what we have been doing since December 1st. Kayla, what has your homeschool looked like in the holidays?
Okay, so I'll first tell you what we do different, and then I'll tell you what we do the same, because this year has been a year of growth for me. And so I've had some revelations. So I don't know what episodes I can't remember what episodes I've talked about our morning routine in, but if you follow me on my Scratch Made Simple social, you've seen me talk a lot about what our mornings look like now. And one of the things that we've been doing is the hymn study by Amber O'Neill Johnston. So, inspired by her, I decided that once we hit the first week of December, we were going to do classic Christmas music,
Nice.
following the same template. Her template is like you have the traditional version of the song, then like you might have a soulful or a country or an a cappella or whatever. So you can hear the song different ways. And then there's always like a background on the song. So what we've been doing when we're doing hers is Monday we listen to the traditional version. Tuesday we watch the video on the background of it. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I'll pick some different versions of it. So that's what we've been doing with the Christmas stuff. We did Joy to the World the first week. This week was Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Next week is Mary Did You Know? And so we listen to the traditional version. The next day I find a video that tells about like who wrote the song and how, when it came out. And then the next 2 days will be like a country one. Or my kids this is crazy. Since doing the Amber O'Neill Johnston study, I've discovered they like the Celtic versions of the songs. Like anytime we've had a Celtic or a bluegrass, they are super into it. Like they really like the sound. And so I've tried to make sure to find like a Celtic version of the Christmas song or a bluegrass version. And then I might do a version that has kids singing it or a version that has like we listened to Whitney Houston's version of one of the songs and it was very soulful and like she had put a lot of Rens in there. It was just really cool. So we have added that. And
Love that.
yeah, it's been so
I
fun.
love so much about that. Like, one, I love that you have discovered that your kids like a kind of music that, like, who knows if you would have discovered that without exploring music this way. And then the second thing I love is that you basically, like, have started creating your own, like, I'm like, is there a Scratch Made Simple curriculum coming about, like,
Maybe.
Christmas music study?
Maybe. I don't know. That feels scary. So we're going to not go down that road right now.
Feels exciting.
But it's been really cool. And so how we do our morning routine is we have our hymn study, we do CNN 10, and then we normally do a state study. And we do 2 states per week, just like rapid fire facts about the state. But right now, instead, I have discovered that Right Now Media has a lot of Christmas stuff for kids. And so we have been doing that after in place of our state study is I'll pick a Christmas thing, which is longer than our normal state study is like 5-6 minutes. So these are usually like 12 to 15-minute things. However, with the exception, I want to clarify too, we are not like inherently child-led learning in our house. However, I do want to invest in their interests and what they're excited about. So we did have a situation in 10. For what it's worth, I know CNN can be controversial, but CNN 10 specifically has been really cool for our family because it spurs a lot of extra conversation. And so many mornings we end up researching something else because we heard about it on CNN 10. So my kids found out through CNN 10 that Christmas looks a lot different in Australia. They're having barbecues, they're being outside, and my kids were blown away. So last week for a couple of days after we did CNN 10, we would do what Christmas looks like in this country, what Christmas looks like in this country.
So cool.
It was really cool because it was some of the things there was one country and I can't remember which one it was, but they don't celebrate till January. And it's not Epiphany, it's Christmas that they're celebrating in January. So that's been really neat and just some different, I like to be festive. And so these are ways that it can just feel a little more festive. However, the growth point this year, I like to be festive and I tend to not get trapped in the comparison game by Instagram and whatnot. However, when I see a really cool idea or a really fun thing, I save it. Oh my gosh, we've got to do that this year. We're going to do that this year. And every year, I end the season feeling exhausted and like a failure because I didn't do it right because we didn't build our own gingerbread houses. I ended up buying, and this is a perfect example. I ended up buying a gingerbread house from the store for them to make. What a failure I am. Guess what? This year, we're going to buy the gingerbread house from the store. That part isn't changing. What's changing is my attitude. I'm not a failure because I'm deciding now this is what we're going to do because every year I like have this big idea of we're going to do all this gingerbread stuff and we never do it. Not because I'm a failure, because we run out of time.
Yeah.
And so guess what? If we get to make gingerbread this year, cool. I love that for us. But I'm not putting the pressure on myself. And I feel like so many moms feel the pressure to make the holidays magical.
Yes.
And we're doing all of these things because we want our kids to have these experiences. But our kids aren't necessarily the ones. My kids aren't saying, like, Mom, when are we going to bake gingerbread? Mom, are we going to bake gingerbread? They don't care. They're just excited to get to put together a gingerbread house. They don't care
Yes.
how it came to them.
Yes.
And so this year I have really released myself from trying to be over the top and do everything. We have certain things that we do every year, and we'll get into that in a minute. But, I'm just going to be happy with the things that we get to do, and I'm going to enjoy the things that we get to do. I'm going to make the magic where I can, but a lot of the magic is just us being together and doing the things. And a lot of the magic is some of the things we've done with our morning routine. And the other thing we do, and I won't say like this changes how our homeschool looks. We would do this whether the kids were schooled any other way, but we have a Jessie tree. We did like a DIY palette Jessie tree with our church group a couple years back. And all the moms, well, 24 of the moms, were assigned an ornament. And so like I chose the ornament for the Bible story about Mary and Joseph traveling to Bethlehem. And so I made as many of those ornaments as there were moms coming to this event. And so when you got to the event, you like walked down the hallway and picked up one of each ornament.
Cool.
And then you made your tree. And so now we have this box of ornaments. And so each night we read the chapter in the Jesus Storybook Bible, and then we hang our ornament. And the kids love that. Like they
Yeah.
look forward to it every year. So, and that is magical for them.
Yes.
And so it's just enough. Like it's enough. And I want so badly for moms to hear it's enough. You're not a failure. And this we hear all the time. This is their only childhood. This is their only childhood. Yes. And this is your only motherhood. And I feel like this year my focus has, or not my focus, but like my heart has really been for moms who are
It
burnt
has.
out.
Yes. You
Who
have
are
been
burnt
really
out, whose wells are empty, and who are missing out on the joy of motherhood for trying to keep all the plates spinning and make the plates beautiful. They have to be spinning and they have to be beautiful. And I was really down at Christmas time last year because I was feeling like it wasn't very magical. I wasn't feeling the magic of Christmas, and it was just like an extra burden. And I was like, I'm not doing this again. I want to feel festive and magical at Christmas too. So that has been my attitude has been so different this year because here's the other thing. And I laughed because I was like so into the curriculum that you talked about. And I was like, oh, I want to get that. I have a whole stack of campfire curriculums, Christmas curriculums sitting back here that I bought last year and didn't do last year.
Yeah.
Pulled it out this year, didn't do it this year. I don't know that I'm ever going to get to it. The beautiful thing about campfire is we can use it through high school. But you know what? Last year, I beat myself up for not doing it. This year, I don't really care. Like I wanted to do that. I wanted to change up our curriculum, and it's not going to happen. And you know what? My daughter loves her curriculum so much. She's out there doing math on a day that we don't even do bookwork normally, but
Yeah.
she loves that curriculum so much. So great. Let's do that. Like it's working.
You don't have to break the system just because it's the holidays if that doesn't feel right. You can pepper in these little things, keep what works on a regular basis and like pepper in other things. And I will tell you, I bought the Read Aloud Revival Christmas school curriculum last year, which was insane. I had a 4-year-old and it was all centered around a Christmas Carol. And like, it's okay. Cause I thought like, well, maybe we'll do both Christmas schools. Like that's silly. I'm not gonna call myself stupid. That's silly. I have it in a drawer. And when he's old enough, we can pull that out and we can do Christmas Carol, Christmas school. But I think it's really important to keep yourself in this season focused on what is right for your kids and you.
Yeah.
And not get caught up because Instagram starts to look real like sparkly this time of year. And I'm sure TikTok does too. Like, look at all the things. But I think what you said is so important that the magic really comes from being together. the season is beautiful and magical, like, everywhere you look. You don't have to overdo. Be together, and I actually have a kind of a similar story that happened to me when we get into all the, like, things we like to go and do. So are we ready to segue there to
Yeah, I will say too, I didn't speak to Thanksgiving
Mm,
because we don't really nothing really changed except the state study part. After we did the state study in our morning routine, we did do some, like, videos on Thanksgiving and how Thanksgiving came about, and it kinda coincided with where my son's at in his history curriculum right
mm.
now, but we don't do a whole lot for Thanksgiving other than just, like, talking about the origins of Thanksgiving and all that jazz, so that's the last
Something
thing I
this
would add.
year. I learned something this year about Thanksgiving from our curriculum, that
Yeah.
there was a woman, and I'm forgetting her name right now, but she is like who petitioned. She spent years
Yeah.
petitioning. Do you remember her name?
I don't remember her name, but we watched a video about it this year.
I didn't know that. That's one of
Mhm.
the things I love about homeschooling is that, like, you learn these things that you never learned before, like,
Yeah.
alongside your kids, and I think my son wouldn't have thought that was neat if I had been like, "What? I didn't know this."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it's cool to learn new things. All right, so what does your family like to do here in this region where we live, which is gonna be great for people who live nearby? And, like, I just wanna say, if we talk about something that sounds really cool and you live far away, you are not missing out. You have cool things near you. But we're gonna talk about some of the things we like to go do in Northwest Georgia. So, you wanna kick us off?
Yeah. Yeah, so something that hasn't been a Christmas tradition, is now going to be. We went for my son is super into trains, and so shortly after we first moved up here, we discovered the Tennessee Valley Railroad in Chattanooga, and that was part of his birthday as we went and rode the train. So you ride the train out to the depot, the train gets put on a turntable, they turn it around, you get back on the train and you go back. It's a whole thing. But this year, we went with our homeschool group to ride the train, and it was a totally different experience
So fun.
because the train is decorated, everything is decorated, even, like, parts of the line as you're going along are decorated. It was so festive, and, you know, I know in North Carolina, I think it is, and maybe even in Blue Ridge, they do a Polar Express themed one,
Mhm.
but it's late at night, and I feel like it's kinda pricey. So we're probably not gonna do that, but this felt like our answer to that. 'Cause it's very affordable and, it's during the day. It was so fun, and my husband couldn't go, and he was kinda bummed about that, so I decided that that's gonna be our kickoff to the Christmas
Nice.
season each year, and if the field trip is planned with our homeschool group, then we'll go that route, but if not,
You'll go
we'll
as a
either just go
family.
as a family or, get a group together.
Yeah,
So
we had
that's
so much fun. That's where I brought the
so much
cookies.
fun. Yes, and they were so good.
I
No, I
brought
didn't try
a
one.
little more
That
Christmas.
I
You
tried one of those.
ended up I gave you the last one, and then a kid came up and said, "My
Yeah.
sister hasn't gotten one," and you were so kind to I can make you more.
Well,
But
I
it
did
was
steal a bite of my son's, and it was
yeah.
good.
It was really fun, and I will say they do a nighttime Christmas one
Yeah.
with hot cocoa and stuff, but I thought going with friends during the day, it was, like, the perfect amount of time. It was great.
Yeah.
So,
It was so great.
I love that.
So, we're definitely gonna do that, and I also consider the Jesse tree thing a tradition that we do at Christmas. My husband has a record player, and more than a couple years ago, so long ago, Trace Adkins put on a Christmas concert for military. You could only get tickets if you were military, and they were free. It was so kind. I think he's just an incredible human being, and it was such a cool experience, and he brought this woman out who is Celtic, and she played the violin, and it was like a Celtic Christmas. Well, they were selling a record of that at the show, so we got it because we love the music. So when we decorate, we bring out the record player and we start with that record and we play, like, Christmas records.
I love it.
So, eventually, we end up on Spotify with NSYNC's Christmas album because that's
You have
my
to.
thing.
You have
Yeah.
to. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
But we start with Trace Adkins' A Celtic Christmas, and we like to go drive around. We don't do a lot of formal light displays. We love the Lights of Joy in Kennesaw,
oh my
and
gosh, love Lights of Joy.
amazing. It's a walkthrough. It's so cool, and we've talked about, do we drive down for that again this year? I don't know, but one of our favorite things to do, and we've been doing this since before we lived up here, is to get a list of all the amateur, but, like, really semi-professional light shows that people do on their own homes, and we make hot chocolate and put it in our thermos, and we get blankets and snacks, and we get in the car, and we drive around and look at all the lights on people's houses, and I haven't seen a map for our town, but Rome, Georgia, on their, like, travel and tourism site, they have a map of all the light displays, so
Oh, I
we're
didn't know
probably gonna
that.
do that one, yeah, and I know there's a couple in this area. We did it last year, we went and saw, and, like, a lot of them
We
will
ended
sync
up
with the
we ended up, like,
Yes!
pulling up behind you.
Yes!
'Cause we do the same thing. We have a tradition of going out and doing a Christmas lights drive. My husband and I have been doing it since we got married. So
Yeah,
even before we had the kid, and we do
yeah,
the hot cocoa or the cider, and I make a playlist, and we go out and we look at the lights, and it's just like a really special family time. It's probably my like most treasured family
yeah.
tradition. And last year we pulled up behind you, or
Yep,
you pulled behind us. I was like, I
yeah,
think that's Kayla, but I don't want to be weird and like jump out and like in the dark, be wrong.
yep,
I was like,
yeah,
"Is that you?"
that would be weird, but a lot of the houses, will have, like, a sign like, "Hey, tune your radio to this station,"
Yes.
and it'll, like, sync with the light show, so that's really cool.
You know about the big one here though, right? In our area? Like,
I don't
the
think so.
big one is on Pine Chapel Road
Okay,
in Calhoun, Georgia,
okay.
and I don't have an address for you, but if you get on Redbud Road and you turn left at Crane Eater Church, there is,
Oh,
like,
okay.
a mile of Christmas lights. It's amazing and unreal, so
Okay, we're
put
gonna
that
have to
one
check
on
it
your
out.
list for this year.
Yeah, for sure. And then my aunt and uncle, who we love dearly and do not get to see enough, they come into town the week of Christmas. And so Christmas Eve, we go to breakfast with my dad's family. And then Christmas Eve, we do brunch and spend the day with my mom's family. And then on Christmas Day, we have our morning here. And we've started a new tradition since we moved into this house it's like my dream. And it's so silly, but I've always wanted to do this, but never had the infrastructure. We wrap the doorway or the like door frame, I guess, into the hallway where the kids' rooms are with wrapping paper. And they have a bathroom on that side of the house, so like they can come out and go to the bathroom, but we wrap it with wrapping paper so that Christmas morning they can't come out until we're like there telling them, "Okay, you can come out now." And they bust through the wrapping paper. And
Love
they
that.
love waking up to that. And this year we're going to have to wrap the doors to outside as well cuz there might be a little something something out there. So, that's always really fun, and yeah, Christmas Day, we have time here, and my husband's aunt comes up, and we always have a sweet time with her, and this year, we're gonna get to start a new tradition because this year my parents just live up the driveway, and since we moved up here, we've never gotten to spend Christmas morning with them. We've never we don't see them until we go to my dad's sister's house in the afternoon, and so we've talked about, having kinda brunchy food, and they come down and do all that, so
Nice.
yeah, it's fun. Really, Christmas afternoon with my dad's family is always, like, such a big that's, like, the climax of the Christmas season for me because it's just such a fun time, and we always have way too much food, and we say every year, "Next year, we're gonna pare it down, we're gonna keep it simple." And last year, I said, "No, we're not. Can we all just acknowledge we're never gonna do that, and if we did, it would be sad?" Because then it wouldn't be this, and this is what makes it we just eat all day.
Yes. That's
So,
beautiful. You
yeah.
feast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun time. So, yeah, that's what we do for Christmas. What about you? What do you do?
Nice. Well, so we also obviously do a Christmas lights drive. We last year started, and if you've listened to our episode on the Chattanooga Zoo, you heard me talk about this. We got gifted a membership to the Chattanooga Zoo. And so last year, for the first time, we went to their Asian Lantern Festival. And so we went again this year. It's super fun. The zoo is open at nighttime, which feels different. There's not a lot of animals out, so you're like not going to the zoo to see animals, but they have these interactive light features and then just also beautiful light features. And so that's become I think it's a tradition now. I think we have that expectation. This year we went out to our favorite restaurant for like a special occasion in Chattanooga. It's called Tony's, and it's Tony's Pizzeria and Pasta, and it's up in the Bluffview Arts District, and it's awesome. If you have any like dietary restrictions considering like with wheat, which I do. It's like you get to go out to Italian and feel like you're not left out because they have
Lovely.
in-house made gluten-free bread service, pasta. It's awesome.
Beautiful.
So that felt really special. We got to like have a special dinner, and we actually did that right after the train ride that you were just talking about. We went from the train ride to our special dinner to the Lantern Festival, and that was maybe a little too much for one day. But lessons were learned, you know? And so obviously we do a Christmas lights drive as well. We do Lights of Joy in Kennesaw. We have a sweet family that we're really close with that lives in Kennesaw, and so we do like a just our two families potluck style, bring food and sit and just have fellowship together. They have a daughter who's an only child as well, and my son and their daughter consider each other cousins. And so it's just like a special sweet time that they get to spend together. And then we go do Lights of Joy. We also last year started going to Pettit Creek Farm, which is in Cartersville.
Yeah, that intrigues me. How is it? Because is it $20 a car or is it $40 a
So
car?
there's two ways to do their light display. You can do a car, and they have different rates. Tuesday, Wednesday are different rates than
Okay.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights.
Okay.
It starts at 6, and you can do a car and drive through their lights display, or you can do the hayride. And the
Okay.
hayride takes you through the lights display, and that's $10 a person. So
Okay.
$10 a person for the hayride, or a car, I think on Tuesday, Wednesday is something like 20 bucks a
Yeah.
car, and then on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, I think it's maybe 30 bucks a car. But so they have a light display that you drive through, and at the end of that, you can buy bags of food and feed some of their wild animals like zebras and giraffes and like animals that do not live in Georgia natively. They have like a wild animal farm. Or not a
That's
wild
so
animal
fun.
farm, like a what's the word I'm
Like a
looking for?
preserve?
Yes, it's like a
Yeah,
preserve for non-native animals. So
that's cool.
you can feed animals off the hayride or out of your vehicle. And then they also have this whole like carnival area. So they have a couple of carnival rides. They have those like bungee jump things. They have the carnival swings. They have tunnels of lights that you can walk through or run through. I mean, my child runs through them, of course. I think sometimes they have a petting zoo. They have different animals that you can ride. Last year they had a camel that my son
Oh my
rode.
gosh.
Yes. So it's fun. It's in Cartersville, Georgia. We have a Mexican restaurant we love in Cartersville. It's called Los Arcos. So we go eat dinner there and then we go to Pettit Creek, and that's one of our little traditions. And then I will also say in our town, we have a snowman walk.
Yes, I forgot about that.
There's different businesses create snowmen, and they're like really creative and interesting. And so we always kind of informally go as a wild and free group. It's not like one of our scheduled things. We just, when everybody can get together, we go and we walk through the snowmen. And we do have a parade in our town. And so for the last 2 years, we've either attended and watched, or this last night, actually, we were all of us, Kayla and her kids too. We were in the parade, and that was an
We were.
experience. And then the new thing we did this year is I took my son to the Center for Puppetry Arts to see their puppet show of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And it's the same script and the same style of puppets as the Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that we all know and love. And it was a great experience. Center for Puppetry Arts does a phenomenal job. They're in Midtown Atlanta, so it was a little bit of an adventure getting into town in the morning, into the city, but we had a great time. We got there a little bit early, and they have with your ticket, you can go see their two main exhibit halls. And so one of them is like a little bit of history of puppetry and then a whole Jim Henson gallery. And then the other one for Christmas season is all like Christmas puppets. So we got to see like the Rudolph and Santa from the Rankin Bass. There were reindeer there was like a lamb chop one. But the one that like stole my heart is they had a bunch of the puppets from Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas,
Cute.
which is my all-time favorite. If you said you can only watch one Christmas movie, that is the Christmas movie I would choose. And so we got to see that, and that was wonderful. And then we went and we watched the Rudolph, and they did a fantastic job. Some of the puppeteers sounded exactly like the voices from the movie. And my son, it's his favorite. That's his favorite Christmas movie. If he had to pick just one, that's what he would choose. And so he loved it. But the best part, I thought, and he thought too, was that at the end, the puppeteers came out and they told you like who they each played, because many of them played multiple characters, and they showed every kind of puppet that they used and how it works.
Oh, that's cool.
So they had 3 different kinds of puppets in this show, and they showed them how the puppeteer maneuvered that puppet in the show, and they told you a little bit about how the show came together. They talked to you about the sets a little bit. They talked to you about how the lighting and the sound and all of those things and what the stage manager does. So it was educational. I was like, "Well, we did school today." We had some
Yeah.
arts education, and they said to us from the stage, "Afterwards, there's a craft. You get to make your own Rudolph shadow puppet." And then when we went out, they said, "Actually, we don't do that after the first show of the day. We only do that after other shows," which was unfortunate
Aw.
because my son was like, "A craft, no craft." But it's okay. I found the craft. We can still make it. We'll make it at home. It's not
Nice.
hard, so we can still do it. So if that's something I would pay attention to if he wants to go to that again next year, is I would pay attention to if there's a craft offered or not, if that's something that's important to your family. But it was great. It was a wonderful experience. Center for Puppetry Arts does a great job. And so then we went out to like a special Christmas lunch date. We got some Jenny's ice cream. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I like to talk about Jenny's ice cream. They had some Christmas flavors that were excellent. And it was just a really sweet, special day. And I was telling my son that when I was a teenager, I lived like 6 or 7 hours from a city. It took about 7 hours to get to San Francisco. But when I was a teenager, my dad moved down to the city, and I didn't tell my son that part. He's not ready. He's not ready for that. But I told him that like at Christmas, my dad would take me to see the Nutcracker in San Francisco. Or when I got a little older, we started to go see the Phantom of the Opera in San Francisco, and we would have like a really special in the city Christmas day. And my son said, "Mommy, could we come into the city for a special show every year? Could that be one of our new traditions?" And I said, "Yes," because here's the great thing. We have 2 cities to choose from
Right.
where we live. That could be Chattanooga.
Right.
But the fact that he wants to go see a show with me felt so sweet and special to me. And I think, for a couple years, Rudolph might fit the bill, but we live near Atlanta. There's going to
Yeah.
always be different things. It doesn't always have to be like a big thing because he's a kid. Like, again, like you were saying, like it can be simple, but it's about doing the thing together and
Right.
it being a tradition. Up until that point, I had planned a bunch of other things that we were going to go do. I'm not even going to tell you what they were. But I had like 4 or 5 other days on the calendar that we were gonna like leave early and be gone all day and come back in the evening. And I realized driving home as I was talking to him that this is enough. And we also need time at home together, baking, putting together the gingerbread house kit. Kit, hear
Yep.
me, I said kit because I'm
Yep.
not making it, that I bought. And we love to make handmade gifts for people in our community every year. We need that time at home, and have been doing the Hannah Brencher Advent study for years, and one of the big themes of it is making space. Are you making space in this holiday season for Jesus? And I'm not. If I'm running us 2 hours to this event or to go see this thing that's not in my community, there's enough happening here and there's enough happening in my home.
Well, just like your study about the animals being still during this time, it's like, are we? And with thinking about the float, I know we've talked about this off mic, but I said no to being a part of the decorating of the float and getting it together. We will come and be a part of the parade, but I have to say no to this because one, didn't feel like I would be a valuable addition because that's just not my skill set. But two, and I told the leader of our enrichment program, I'm protecting what time we do have to just be here at home in this home that we have decorated for Christmas. We
Right.
only get to be around these decorations during this time of year. But if we're gone the whole time, we don't ever get to enjoy them. And so I told her I'm protecting this time. And I did need to do some baking yesterday, but I'm protecting this time. And I had an added gift where my mom was like, I had told her that I had some kind of admin-y tasks to do, and it's just hard to focus when you're being interrupted every minute. And she was like, "Why don't I come get the kids?" And she came and got the kids for like 2 hours so I could get some stuff done. What a gift. And that would not have been on the table if I was planning to go decorate the float. So I think it's just so important to remember to be still. And no one asked for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have a tip that I've learned for myself, and I know that a lot of people don't have this problem, but I do, and I feel confident other people do. I feel guilty for being still. I feel guilty for not doing something
Yes.
because productivity for so long has been tied to like my no, I don't want to say my worth because I know my worth, but I'm not I feel like I'm being lazy if I'm just being still.
Same. Same.
And or conversely, when the kids were younger, I felt like if there are dishes in the sink or if the laundry's still in the dryer, that is priority over sitting and playing with my kid or reading with my kid. And that was left for if I had time. And somebody told me, "No, that is part of your job. That is also on your to-do list. So put being still on the list of things that you need to do. Make sure if you have to put it on your calendar, make sure you have penciled in time for stillness."
Yes. Especially in this season.
Yes.
We are called to be still in winter and to rest and be anticipating. And yeah, I had to clear my calendar. I had to say, we're not going to go those days. We're going to stay at home those days. And here's the great thing, I had already blocked those days out. And so it was easy to just, and not with anybody else. So I just turned them into stay at home days. And I think so often in this season, we can be either trying to make something that happened in a previous year happen again, or I know for me last year, I did way too much because I was overcompensating for the Christmas before. I had been recovering from a surgery that was supposed to have a healing time of about 6 weeks, and it ended up taking my body 11 months. And that Christmas was nothing like I had imagined. And I overcompensated last Christmas and burned myself out. I feel like I had that realization the other day when we were coming home from Rudolph that maybe I'm still overcompensating for that Christmas. But we spend all this energy either trying to make it like it was or make up for what it was supposed to be last year or all these things. And instead of just being still and letting this Christmas season be what this Christmas season is. And I think traditions are important. I think they're beautiful for our kids, but they don't need 20 traditions. They need a handful of really solid ones, and some of those need to be those beautiful ones like you were just talking about with decorating the tree with this special music. That's as important as the thing you take them to go do or see. That's not an insane amount of effort to create that magic. That's you pulling out the record player and the special record, and I think that's really important too. So, Kayla, what's your win this Christmas season?
I think that's my win is that this season I've let myself off the hook. And I have been able to truly sit in that freedom of, yes, while that activity looks fun, while that curriculum is beautiful, while this event would be so cool, it's okay if you don't do it. You're not missing out on it and you're not a failure for not doing it. And it has just, I mean, truly, the shift in my attitude has been so good because I feel like I'm getting to enjoy the season, not just trying to make sure my kids enjoy the season. That is important.
Yes.
And I love the magic we get to create for our kids, but our kids are going to be grown one day and they're going to be doing this with their own families. And if all my Christmas has been for 18 plus years is working so hard to make this thing for my kids, then what am I left with? And I just think that it's so important for us to get to enjoy watching our kids enjoy Christmas.
Yes.
And that's my win is I'm finally getting to do that this year. What about you?
We talk a lot in homeschool about relationships, about that being part of the reason why we homeschool. I want the relationships with my kid to be more important than milestones and outcomes and things. And to have my son reflect back to me that doing something just the two of us that's special when he asked if this could be one of our traditions, just let me know that that part of my homeschool is working and that what I hope I'm pouring into him and communicating to him, he's receiving. There's the hard days where it doesn't feel like we're communicating very well or like the relationship feels strained and you wonder like, is this really what's best for us? And then when you have those moments where your kid tells you this relationship part is he didn't use these words, but that's what he was telling me was like the relationship that we have is the tradition. That is the thing. It just felt like a reminder that this is the path, stay on it, keep going. And these are those like moments of reward that you get. And it was really sweet. So, Kayla, where can the people find you?
You can find me at scratchmadesimple_ on Instagram and at scratchmadesimple on TikTok. And Kat, where can they find you?
I'm at Recreating Camp on Instagram and Facebook. And of course, we are at Homeschooling Down South on all the socials. If you have some cool things that you want us to talk about on the podcast, if you have some Christmas presents for us in the form of homeschool experiences, you can email us at hello@homeschoolingdownsouth.com. And we would be so grateful if you would share this episode or your favorite episode, send it as a Christmas present to a friend this season, and leave us. Another present you can give us is to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you're listening. And come back next week. We are going to be talking about the new year. So we'll see you then.
Merry Christmas, y'all.